In the early 90s, you slightly, changed up your sound and changed up what you were doing
Yeah.
in terms of moving away from necessarily like those drum machine things into working with samples and obviously with the kind of like the more jungle type stuff.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about what inspired that. Was that like a reaction to what was going on within kind of house music?
I think I was really pissed off. I was like, I kind of felt like this abuse from like the music system that I didn't actually realize would have happened. Still wanted to keep with creativity, so like basically let jungle was letting off steam, really, and like I remember at one point. Like one of the guys from 808 said, "Oh, don't like breaks." I was like, "Yeah, really." So I did I think the first thing I did was a track called "Specific Hate," and I used like this break beat, and then I was like, "Oh, this is all right, isn't it?" So after that, I kind of continued with the break beats. I did like a sound system called Juicebox. With Nicky Lockett, who was from my estate. He was the MC Tunes, and basically we did this sound system thing, and then like I decided, yeah, let's like do some tunes, like some dub plates for the sound system. So we started doing like this kind of breakbeat kind of tunes, and yeah, the rest was history. Really, I just got into doing that. By the end of it, I was like trying to find a way to get out of Manchester, to tell you the truth, because there was all sorts of crazy things going on there, people with firearms and stuff like that. But I managed to kind of evade all that and focus on what I was doing, and I kind of just kept with the music. And I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff that was happening. But then I managed to get away with my life and escape and do, carry on with the music. No one, like the people that were doing like jungle at the time, they wouldn't come to Manchester, so I had to go to London. No, but like no, I didn't know any of them. I didn't know any of the people in and nobody in London wanted to keep guns in my house.
I mean, so in terms of like what you were in that era, like making music with, so obviously, the samplers and the breaks were like a kind of key cornerstone of it. But were those the kind of the drum machines and synth and stuff? Were they still part of that, or did you kind of completely make a break with like away from that?
No, I kind of. What I kind of thought I was doing at first was basically just like a step on kind of thing. But I found that like there was a lot of things within the sampling things that were really similar. It was I was happy that I'd learned about like the envelopes and attack, sustain, decay, and release, because that came in very handy when it came to smoothing in loops and stuff like that. I did a lot of looping, a lot of cutting of things, and like listening to like how I wanted sounds and stuff like that. You had to, I don't know, there was like this really kind of trying to create like not a natural acoustic, but like I know how I wanted like the bass drum kind of thing. There was this, I mean, like with the 808 bass drum, like there was only a certain amount of things that you could do with the real 808, and I kind of wanted that to talk too. So like within the sampler, I was using Akai mainly. I could actually lengthen the sample out and like lower it and make it kind of sing how I wanted to. Like we was cross-platforming a lot of different genres by then, so I was mixing like dub with hip hop and like making like trying to create like new sounds, trying to you're basically trying to show off your production skills to the other kind of jungle teams or whatever. So I was doing a lot of talking with like the guys from like Reinforced and all these guys with like different, like I'm going to use this break and like show you how I use it kind of thing, and then like and I mean I had like a few secret weapons because I was using they were using the Atari, I was using Otari, so like a lot of people didn't realize I was recording on the tape at first, so they couldn't figure out how I got the bass so deep and stuff like that. But I was just like slowing the tape down, and like I would record really like fast and then slow it down, and then have a really clean deep bass, and then like the actual tone from the Akai was like a really nice thing to use, and like key grouping, layering, stuff like that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going into really simple things that a lot you couldn't really do earlier on. It was, I mean, I kind of first thing I did when I kind of got a little bit of revenue was like I put it straight into getting like a studio, like a desk, outboard gear. Like I didn't bother with people after that. I was just like locked in the studio and like trying to get like as deep with my bass as possible, like as crisp with the snares, wanting to know about the science of like stereo imaging, like it was like, okay, like the environment, the room, I need to change the room because like everything's happening kind of inside here, like I need like my acoustic to be focused, and so I just basically started to go down like all these different rabbit holes.
Have you always been like that, like since you were a kid, in terms of like hearing stuff and just needing to know, like exactly how it was done?
It was like, how do they, or basically, or not even just how it was done, but it's like, how can I make it different, And I think that actually came from jazz, because I was like, went down a little bit of a jazz rabbit hole when I was like in my teens, when people were listening to Adam and the Ants, I was listening to Chick Corea, like Return to Forever and all this stuff, and I was like basically trying to not mimic what they were doing, but like it was like, wow, they were doing like these concept albums where they were writing like a story using sound, like there's an album by Chick Corea called, I think it's called The Mad Hatter. The first track is called The Woods, and he's basically just using like all these analog synths to create the sound of like this really watery, dark, creepy woods, and like he's got it spot on. I mean, you close your eyes and you're in this wood, and he's just using analog sounds to create this image. There was no samples or anything. It was just like and I think there was actually this sect of people that would basically, they were kind of anoraks, that would basically use like synthesis to create like sounds. They would use like the Doppler and all, to create all the, and I was like, I was admiring these kind of like how they would do this stuff, and I suppose like at the kind of more broader end of that, you would find like Jean-Michel Jarre and Vangelis and these people.
Is that stuff you used to listen to?
Yeah. Anything that was electronic, I was in. Like obviously like New Order, and but like it was just like I was just in. I was just like, wow, how did they do this? Like, why? What is that? What is the? Like really, really curious. I mean, the first time I heard like a Walkman stereo, it was just like blew my mind. It was just like, wow. I mean, I heard stereo, but like when you actually hear it in your head, it was that took me to another level. I mean, like that alone, and it's just simple things like that, that make you think, okay, so like to create that kind of sound, that big kind of wash, like, how would I do that in here? Like, how would I, and like, blankets everywhere, and like trying to make sure like I was just focusing in on this kind of sound that I was getting, and like, where the speakers were kind of important in that. But I mean, like, you said it's something that you could do now with a bloody computer and like a pair of headphones, and I mean I get it with all the stuff, and but like if you really want it, you'll find it. I think as encouragement to anyone, if you really want sound. It's there, you know. Like, and the thing is, it's become like putty. You can make the sound that you want. You can actually make from, you know, like, I mean, if I was gonna do a school for kids who like want all this synths and all this stuff and analog, you know, all with like wooden sides on it and like all the, what I would say is, okay, first of all, here's some white noise. Build me a snare, build me a bass drum, build me a clap, build, you know, like there's the sounds, there's the envelope, sorry, and there's the chisel, there's the ways of, there's the, you know, and then once you can do that, then move on to using like the sampler or whatever.